Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show, the first episode of 2026. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. Gents, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bro.
I'm looking forward to it. So I was doing some math, and that's always kind of rough.
I know.
But
I know it's hard
it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
But with our team and our clients, difference between 24 and 25, we're up 14.4%.
Cool.
That's great.
So the podcast is resonating, and people are getting
Yeah.
wise and going, "Hey, we need to get into the game."
Yeah,
There you go.
actually, we've been getting quite a bit of response here, especially Q4 from the podcast. So thank you for listening, and thank you for reaching out.
All right. Well, you're going to want to text the word RATE to 623-AZ Recon. That's RATE, R-A-T-E, to 623-AZ Recon, because that's what's on everybody's mind, Justin. 2026. It was on everybody's mind last year. A lot of news, a lot of just assumptions, rumors, innuendos about what Trump's going to do, with Jerome Powell, and are we going to get a new Fed chair? But what are we thinking right now as far as rates, and what are just your gut before we get into the politics side? And I do want to disclose this is not meant to be a political show whatsoever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Whether you like the administration or not, they're in the White House.
They're in administration, yeah.
Yeah. But what's your gut telling you? What are you thinking for 2026?
Well, I mean, I have my gut tells me positivity for 2026. My outlook is coming into this year is definitely going positive towards back to appreciation on homes. I just feel like the market's going to be moving that direction. I didn't have this feeling in 24 or 25. Which, those made for tough years not going in positive, right? But I have high hopes for this year. I don't think that we're going to see anything ridiculous on interest rates. I really don't. And that's the question. Everybody's, not everybody, but I've had a lot of clients reaching out. I've had a lot of friends reaching out about interest rates. What do you think they're going to do? What's on the brink? I don't feel like we're going to see anything, drastic on the movement on interest rates. However, if we could even just remain where we are, that's so much better than we saw last year. Last year at this time, we were in the high sevens. So if you look at, the 10-year treasury bond or the mortgage-backed security yields, we've had a lot of movement in 2025. And I think last year at this time, we had a lot of people out there that had a dream of owning a home in 2025, and they go through the pre-qual process. We tell them what the payments are, and it was disheartening. It wasn't affordable. We're talking about an interest rate that's on average about 1.5% lower this year.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And so I think that's making some headway there. We're not seeing a lot of people that are calling in that are upset about the payment. That's doable for me. We can do that. So I like where we're at. I mean, I don't want rates to get too crazy cheap because I don't want, a short burst and then it ends. I want it to be consistent and I want the market to continually grow. Obviously it's
more
below my
business
pay
is great,
grade.
but
And it's not even about more business. It's more about
not just for you and for me, but business
and
general.
for our portfolios. More being able to determine what we're going to be looking at next year if we can maintain this rate. But so that's my gut. Now, our administration, Trump has said, hey, no matter what happens this year, no matter what data comes out, we are going to be continuing to lower the rate. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to increase activity, business, the GDP. We're trying to grow as an economy. And so I think this housing market is a big deal with the economy. I mean, It's not like we're exporting a lot of goods. So we rely on construction and continuing to build homes and put our
well, we are exporting a lot of people.
And importing a president.
Importing a.
So,
That's funny.
with that being said, I know that because he gets to appoint our Fed chair, whoever he chooses, he's going to be interviewing this individual, pushing his agenda on this individual. So I got to believe that they're going to live up to what has been presented to them to an extent. I mean, what do you guys feel your guys' guts tell you this year?
I mean, it's been over a decade since I really paid attention to politics, because I feel like whenever I hear media or anything like that, it's just like, okay, go ahead and lie to me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not really. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what they're going to.
Sounds like our marriages.
But what I
go ahead and lie to me,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah,
Make me feel good about myself.
What I can say, though, is that it seems that there's a lot of states and a lot of counties and a lot of areas that are increasing their minimum wage. And when I see that, I say, okay, I mean, that's great. It ends up being a trickle-up effect, because they start getting rid of some of the management, and businesses start become skinnier, because they have to make sure that their soldiers that are out there, whether it's be bagging your groceries or doing some of the more entry-level jobs, which is really where the minimum wage comes into play here, that they're going to start getting rid of some of those people that aren't really pulling their weight on the middle to upper management side. So that being said, I think we're going to start seeing I think we'll see a slightly tick up in unemployment, but then we're also going to see a slight tick up in average income. So whether it balances out or one of them wins, I could see us having a late fourth quarter relaxation on rates, just because whenever they do a lot of movement like that there could be some of that. I don't think that we're going to see anything drastic. I mean, if you tuned in last month when before we wrapped up at the end of the year, it's my mind hasn't changed. I really don't think that we're going to see anything nuts. I think that there's going to be some people that are still going to be creative. I do think that we're going to start seeing properties for our investors that are going to make sense on the passive income side. If that's one of the pillars of real estate that you focus on for your model of investing, we're already starting to see some of our investors, including myself, saying, hey, look, actually, I might hold on to that one, whereas in the past couple of years, I haven't been interested in holding on to anything. I've been mostly interested in flipping them. So I think that we're going to see I think we're going to start seeing activity in those arenas.
Yeah, for me, the one thing that I haven't heard from the president or the administration is, if we get a new Fed chair in there and we replace Jerome Powell, where does the president think that interest rates need to be at? That's what I'm really curious about. I think if we stay the course and Jerome Powell's in there, I don't think we're going to see much change. Maybe by Q4, I expect to see a 5 in front of it. But if the president gets his way and we get a new Fed chair, I think all bets are off. I think if he gets his person in there, and he's probably got some number in his head that he thinks is going to stimulate the housing market, it could be good, it could be bad, but I think then in that scenario, we could see a drastic shift in the rates.
Do you think that their objective is to relax the cost of the housing market or increase
affordability? I think is what they're looking for.
I think overall, just affordability is what their objective is.
I agree.
But what's curious, but my problem with that is, and that's why, and again, I don't speak to the president. I don't know him. I know you probably, Justin, have visited with him, but you don't remember half the time you get together with people anymore, right? You have a good time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You knew better than to tell your stories right before we jump on in.
But if the government, and rates do get too aggressive and drastic to make things more affordable. I can't speak for the rest of the country. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't make it more affordable, because then I do think we'll start to see a jump in appreciation and a jump in sales prices. And so
Inflation.
It's just, so it's hard to say, because I don't know what that magic number is that the president is focused on. If he is focused on a specific number, whether the intent is, hey, let's bring them down. They need to come down, but let's do it in a gradual and in a manageable way, as opposed to all of a sudden June 1st comes around, we got a new chair in there, and next thing we know, rates are at 5.5%. I don't think that's going to do a lot for affordability for especially first-time home buyers.
I'll tell you. So again, interest rates, and I say again, but I like to talk about what interest rates work off of: inflation, expectations of what the Feds are going to do, and Treasury yields. So I think that
they look at unemployment too.
well, that comes along with Treasury yields.
Oh, okay.
So Treasury yields are affected by unemployment.
You're way smarter than me, dude, so I'm not going to argue.
Well, unemployment has been on the rise, and new jobs have been on the decline. So that's something to be worried about for economic purposes. But again, it's based on expectations of what the Fed's going to do. So I feel like once Trump names who his Fed chair is going to be and what that agenda, and that Fed chair says what their agenda is
do we
going
have
to be.
a timetable for that? Or?
Well, Powell's term ends in May.
Okay.
So I feel like once that's named, I think we're going to see movement in the market immediately, because it's expectations of what the Feds are going to do. So based on what is said, a lot of times what Jerome Powell says after the Feds meet, that has more of an impact on what happens with interest rates than the actual movement of the interest rate itself. We see it all the time. During that live press conference, right after they decide what they want to do, they lower rates, but then Powell says, we're not lowering it for the rest of the year. Well, we already baked in 2 cuts, so they take those cuts out. So if we have somebody that's coming in that says, I'm going to reduce the rate by 0.5% immediately, and then I'm going to do 4 more for the rest of the year, we're going to have a big impact. And I think we're going to see some sort of movement, whether it's good or bad, depending on how it all rolls out. I think we're going to see movement. And I do think that we're going to see 5s. That's my gut. I think we're going to see 5s in the summertime.
All right, if you'd like some more information about rates, but more importantly about building a strategy to build personal wealth in real estate, we are your team. We'd love to have a conversation with you. All you have to do is text the word RATE to 623-AZ-RECON. That's RATE to 623-AZ-RECON. Let me ask you guys this question. If you had all the power, and right now I said you could freeze mortgage rates at a specific number for the rest of the year, for the next 12 months, they won't go up, they won't go down, what would be your ideal magic number?
575.
I like that. I'm going to say 599 because I don't want it to be too low. I'm going to say 599 just because of that, psychological 5% range. And over the history of mortgages, 5% are incredible rates. Incredible. So I like that 599. That's me.
All right, I was going to go with 5.75, but we can't agree, so I'm going to go with 5.85. So I'm going to come in
right in the middle.
I'm going to come in right in the middle. But I agree.
5.875.
Yeah. So I don't think 5.99. I think I don't know. I was driving down, leaving my house the other day, and I got this Arby's across the street from me. And they got this new $7.99 special buy box. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not pulling in. Tell me what's in the box, okay? 1, 2, and I'm like 7.99. I'm like, come on, it's $8, okay? Be real with me. So I don't like the psychology of the 0.99. I'm too old. I don't give into that anymore. But 5.875, 5.75, I like it.
Yeah.
I'll take a 599 all day right now.
And I'll take an Arby's roast beef sandwich.
Have you guys ever been to the Yard? Where you go over there and I don't know what it is. It's like $5, and then they give you a brown bag, and whatever beer's in it is whatever beer
I've never
you get.
done that.
Oh no, I haven't done that.
Yeah, so like they'll have in like a Pabst Blue Ribbon, or they'll have like a Chamoy or Chimay, whatever it's called. anywhere from like a super cheap beer all the way up to
Yeah.
What if they started doing that with interest rates?
That's funny.
Yeah, it was silly idea.
All right, so at the end of the day, we're pretty much just hanging out till May. I'm not, and
No.
Q1, I'm not expecting a lot of movement at all. I think everything's just going to stay the course. And with that, we say it all the time. I think if we wake up tomorrow and rates are 5.75 or they do drop at a half a point, there is going to be, in my opinion, a lot of uncertainty in the market of what's going to happen with prices. Are they going to skyrocket and so forth, as opposed to right now as a buyer or as an investor, we know what's going on with the market. We know the position that we're in. We know what we can negotiate and what kind of position we can be in to negotiate good deals on homes.
Yeah, I don't think that even if we hit the fives that we're going to see that movement like we did in like 23 when we hit for a minute, or 24. I just don't think that people. I think that rate was such a heavy topic in
But you have to take it into
23,
account,
24.
and in full disclosure, I haven't checked in about 3 weeks. Inventory for Q4 in 2025 is consistently dropping every week. So,
Yeah.
so it's not. You got to take a look at the amount of
I mean,
inventory.
'cause
So if rates
that
do
plays
drop to
it, yeah.
5.75% and we don't have a tremendous amount of inventory, it could go nuts.
Yeah, yeah, it absolutely could. And with these rates, it's been so nice to be down here at the low sixes. So I don't know what that psychology would happen at the fives. It's hard to say, but I feel like everybody that's been putting in applications since the first of the year, they are hustling to find homes. I mean, you guys have seen it.
Sure.
Anybody that's been pre-qualified or even going after pre-qualification, they're in a hurry, which is kind of cool to see. We didn't see that.
I still think that the biggest impact is going to be on the refinance market. I think there's going to be a lot of Earls coming through the pipe.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that either panic bought or for whatever reason they bought and they have a 7 or even a high 6 in front of their interest rate. They're going to be hustling over to you and dropping applications to get that rate back down.
He's hoping so.
I hope so.
And get some monthly payment relaxation, because I think that just with the sheer volume of the amount of people that transacted in the past 5 years, I think most people are pretty complacent of where they are right now. The only people that are really moving, they're not moving because of FOMO. They're not moving because there's a change in circumstance where, like with COVID, there's so many people that were, doing in-home schooling or working from home. I think that phase is behind us. I think most people are just like, you know what? We like it. We just don't like our payment. So let's go refinance. I don't see people out there panic buying after if in the event we get to a number that is whatever the magic number.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really what I think is going to happen. And I think that people that weren't being responsible and that have either learned their lesson or maybe they haven't, they're going to start. The smart ones are going to start putting together their budget and being a little more disciplined on how they're spending their money and how they're either saving or investing it.
Well, if 2026 is the year for you to make your next real estate move, it is never too early to start building the strategies. And that's really the opportunity that we provide you, is to sit down with a team of real estate wealth managers and a mortgage expert and build that strategy to ensure that your next move is successful. If you like that opportunity, go ahead and text the word RATE to 623 AZ Recon. That's RATE to 623 AZ Recon.